All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the first installment of Ahead in the Cloud. I am your host, Robbie Randall. I'm a product specialist here at Intuit. And with me today, I have enrolled agent and QuickBooks Pro Advisor, Caleb Jenkins from RLJ Financial Services. He is accompanied by his small business owner, Colby McRae with InsureCal. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, it's great to be here with you.
What we're hoping to do today is to provide our listeners with the first true end-to-end conversation around how businesses are leveraging the cloud to succeed in today's accelerating business environment. We only have around 45 minutes for today's session. There is a lot to cover, so we're going to all dive right in if that's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Colby. If you will, just take a minute, tell us about your company, your passions. Just give us an introduction to Colby.
Yeah, my name's Colby McRae. I started InsureCal Insurance Agency in February of 2015. We specialize in ag insurance. We work, doing farm and ranch packages, crop insurance, everything like that. We do a lot of contractors. We do a lot of personal lines as well. I started in insurance about 7 years ago. My mom started insurance at the same time, and we were just trying to figure out. The reason I started InsureCal was to find an agency that we both wanted to work at, and that would be the best option for our clients. So
that is awesome. So you work with your mom. It's a family business?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Very common. Caleb, you have a similar situation, if I understand correctly. If you'll take a moment, share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your company.
Yes, so I work with my dad here. My dad started this tax and accounting firm about 32 years ago, and I've been working here about my whole life, but officially for quite a while now. So I've been a QuickBooks Pro Advisor and done taxes and accounting here at our firm for quite a while. I love working with small businesses and helping them succeed and helping them to transition from the mundane data entry to helping them transition to doing business successfully. So
excellent. Very good. Colby, I can tell from just about everything that I've seen online from you, I've done quite a bit of research over the past several weeks, that you put your customers first. I've noticed that in the way that you speak to us with your social media campaigns, where I see you out on LinkedIn and things. Where does that passion for your customer come from?
Well, I would say that, it was easy because of the way I was raised. My mom's always putting everybody else first. So that made it easy. In this industry, it can be pretty tough starting out. And, a lot of times, making a sale could make or break your career starting out. And the biggest thing is having that integrity up front to keep you from making a decision that isn't the right decision for the client. So that's probably our biggest proof of success has been from putting our clients' needs first.
So important. In your current situation with your clients, do you collaborate with them using cloud-based services?
Yeah, so, being younger, to me, cloud makes the most sense. So our client management system, when I started the agency, I said the old system that we were on, the only way to get onto it outside of the office would be remote desktop, which it was easier to drive to the office and just do it from there. So when I started, I said, hey, I want to find something that's 100% cloud-based. We can work anywhere in the world. So our client management system is, our industry's a little behind. So, Google Docs, I tried it in the beginning, that didn't work, but now we have Office 365 with Microsoft, and that's 100% cloud-based, you could say. So, yeah.
Very cool.
And QuickBooks Online.
Oh, of course, yeah, QuickBooks Online. Both of you. Let me go ahead and get that out there in the beginning. You had mentioned being a young person. What is your favorite app?
Favorite app? I know QuickBooks is probably my right answer, but I mainly use QuickBooks on the computer. So as far as apps go, besides the regular text message or email, would probably be Instagram, just to catch up with friends and get the word out there about business and everything else.
Excellent. Instagram. Here's the $1 million question. Let's get right into it. Why do you, as a business owner, business professional, hire another professional like Caleb to do your taxes and handle your books? Why do you hire a professional like that in the first place?
Well, it's kind of the easiest, hardest question. Obviously, what they're providing is pretty invaluable, mainly because the consultation that they're providing is huge for us.
Consultation.
Did I answer that question?
You did. So you said the consultation is super important for you and your firm, and that's something we're seeing more and more in the industry as folks move away from or use a blended approach from compliance more into consultative services. That makes complete sense.
That was the biggest reason, the accounting firm I was at couldn't provide the help that I needed. Oh. And fortunately, I just got lucky and stumbled across RLJ, which, Caleb's dad said, you need to meet Caleb if you're on QuickBooks Online. And he helped me so much that, I can't thank him enough for it.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So you've established a relationship with this firm. You're in an online environment. You have that collaborative approach, consultative approach. From today on, as you look into the future of your business and the way that our industries are changing, what is it that you're looking for in that relationship from Caleb and his firm? Is there something that's just really tactile and important as you move forward?
Yeah, again, it's going to be the consultation that they provide. Whenever I have a question relating to business that doesn't have to do with insurance, the first thing I'm doing is calling here, emailing Caleb, text messaging Caleb, Facebook messaging Caleb, whatever it takes to get the answer. And I know that the trust that I have with that's probably the most important thing, is the trust, because I know that, if he doesn't know the answer, he'll find it out. He'll find out the answer, but 99% of the time they know the answer and get me the right answer anyways.
Almost sounds more of a partnership.
Yeah, it is.
Certainly more than a transactional relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you so much. So Caleb, let's level up for a moment. You recently shared a story with me about how you met Colby. Without sharing the actual year of when you two connected, will you share how that came about?
Yes, so we had various clients come to us in the past using QuickBooks Online before Colby came to us, but typically they were businesses that were just kind of sideline businesses, that they weren't operating, that they weren't doing a lot as an actual business. And so we kind of saw before then, we were using QuickBooks Online for a couple clients that were already here, but we didn't dive into it enough to really learn the benefits of it. And then with the clients coming to us, they were kind of not valuable clients in terms that they weren't actually operating as a business. And so when Colby came along, it was really cool because it helped us see the value of using QuickBooks Online, and that there was somebody already using it, that they loved the cloud environment, and it was enough to help us move more of our client base over to QuickBooks Online, that then it became the familiar place where we went to, and it started to help us automate some of our internal accounting systems.
Excellent. Now, if you'll share the year.
I think it was the beginning of 2015 sometime.
Excellent. So flash forward 3 or 4 years, how has that real-time access to the books changed that relationship with Colby?
So I think the biggest thing is whenever Colby emails us or calls us or texts me or whatever, I can jump right in and say, okay, here's what's happening and here's what you need to do. and maybe I can just go correct something or change something and send him a report or something, rather than him call me and I say, well, theoretically this is what happens, or go here, click here, do this, and they don't know what they're doing, or send me an accountant's copy or send me a backup file so I can get access to your books. That just takes forever, and the client never knows where they're at. We don't ever know where they're at. When we're using QuickBooks Online, we've got real-time access. We can jump in, we can automate some of the books via bank feeds and other third-party apps, and then we can jump in there and just see what's happening, real-time access, and so we know exactly how to answer the clients that come, or the questions that come up from our clients.
That's so important. So you're touching on things that I hear very common in our industry and in the cloud market, so to speak. I hear a lot about workflow and operational things having to do with the cloud, but there's this undertone of what you're sharing with me, which is confidence. Would you agree that it's definitely a confidence play with cloud real-time access?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's a huge portion there, knowing that we have the access and the information at our fingertips, and the ability, once you get into it enough, then you can start to, it is a totally different platform or base than what QuickBooks Desktop is. And so if you don't get into it enough, then you typically, the response will be, well, I like what I'm familiar with. Yeah. Well, if you get into it enough, you can start to learn some of the benefits of it, and with the bank feeds and with some other functionality of it, and you can start to see where it's somewhat easier to use in QuickBooks Desktop too. So
excellent, thank you. Colby, back to you. You had mentioned working with another firm before RLJ. Without getting into too much detail, I don't want to ever speak badly about a company. Yeah. But what was it that triggered you, or what was the catalyst to put you out to market? Was it a single event?
Yeah, definitely. This is great because so I was referred to an accounting firm by one of my clients who has a number of businesses, and I thought, man, this for sure would be a great option. First called him, said, hey, I have my individual tax return from last year, but I'm starting a business and I need help with that as well. Oh, well, we're not taking on any new clients, da, da, da. And then next thing, oh, you're starting a business. You know what? Since you're starting a business, we can take you on. It was very weird. Okay, well, I just need to get this taken care of. And anyways, so I said, okay, we get that last year's taken care of. I said, okay, I have QuickBooks Online. I need some help. I have no clue how to do any of this. And okay, yeah, we'll help you. So finally, after a few months, I said, okay, tax season's over. I got to get this squared away. I'm almost halfway into my first year, and QuickBooks hasn't even been used. It has been by me, but I knew I wasn't doing everything perfect. I was a little confused. So I call them up and said, hey, I need to talk to XYZ and wait, what do you need? Well, can you email me exactly what you need, and I'll forward it on to your accountant and they'll get back to you. So I send an email exactly what I need. I'm still waiting for a response back to that email, but I think that they were probably not super familiar with QuickBooks Online, and instead of just telling me, hey, we can't help you with that. So after a little while not hearing back, I ended up stumbling upon RLJ, and it was just instantly, Caleb, yep, let me help you out. You're starting out, and he's earned my business for life, because just the little, or not the little bit, it was probably a lot to him and me as far as the help. Hey, here's what you need to do on QuickBooks, and he's still teaching me to this day, 3 years later. So that was the biggest thing that got me here.
That is awesome. That's a perfect segue for the next question. I can share with you, when I speak with hundreds of firms a week through webinars and in-person visits and et cetera. There are folks still, fast forward 4 years later in your relationship, there are still folks here today, fold their arms. There's no way I'm going to cloud, just not going to happen, forget it. Which is pretty ironic, because we had those same conversations around modernized e-filing 7 or 8 years ago. Caleb knows what I'm talking about. It's kind of an interesting thing. Then we have those folks who are kind of in the middle, where they're like really not sure, they're change adverse, they're starting to get interested because their clients are, like what you had mentioned. And then at the other end of that spectrum, you have folks like Caleb. You're an educator for QuickBooks Online, you're an evangelist for QuickBooks Online. So I just want to dive into that just a little bit and start talking a little bit about what ignites that in someone, specifically about your Pro Advisor expertise. I see it online as part of your signature. You're out there in front as one of the top 10 in the country for Pro Advisor. What got you started wanting to pursue Pro Advisor certification and getting out in front of that?
So I started using QuickBooks on my own for my own just internal accounting when I was 8 or 9. And because my dad had it installed on our home computer and I was doing miscellaneous things here at work. And so I started, and I loved just keeping track of my own small business activities. Did cherry stand, did some mowing lawns, did some cookie baking, whatever. And so I used the class tracking to track all my different activities. And so that was pretty cool for tax purposes and accounting purposes. And I would say I learned the basics of accounting and the basics of computer systems by using QuickBooks. And that time it was QuickBooks Desktop. And so started working here at our office, our firm, and started doing that for our clients and loved it. And I don't know why I waited as long as I did, but when I was 16, I took the certification to become a certified Pro Advisor. It was very simple, and I loved it, and went ahead and did a couple more years. And as soon as the QuickBooks Online certification came out, I did that right away. And yeah, I've just loved being out there, learning and continuing to learn as things happen with QuickBooks Online, especially as the improvements and the enhancements come out every month. So
that is phenomenal. And you said you were 16 when you got your Pro Advisor?
I think it was somewhere towards the end of 16. Yes.
That is fantastic. So no excuses for anyone out there. Get out there, get your Pro Advisor certification. So understanding you and your business, your father had started the company, you started working for the company at a young age. That's an established business. That's an established business deeply rooted in desktop products. What would you recommend to firms who may be more established, a little longer on their journey, to help them bridge a similar gap moving to the cloud?
So a lot of people say just get your feet wet, just try it. I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't necessarily like that at long term for an established firm. The reason I say that is because if you have systems in place, when you change or processes and systems, when you add something new to that, it can break your systems and processes, which can be good, but because it can show you the inefficiencies in your old systems and processes. But I like to say, try it, but try it with the goal of moving there. So learn more about it to begin with, learn what it can do for you, learn what's the advantages to it and the benefits, and maybe the disadvantages too, if there are any. And then have a well-informed decision at the beginning, and then make a goal to transition slowly and continuing to transition over, so that you can continue to experience the benefits. And as it breaks your processes, as it enhances your processes, go with that, go with the flow. And then when you are completely transitioned, then you'll experience a huge amount of benefits there.
Absolutely. We see it too. There's some break evens that I'm seeing pretty consistently in offices. It's usually around 30 clients on QuickBooks Online, and you build a process around that book of business. Yep. And usually you start to see that efficiency that we claim here and that others claim in the industry, our clients claim in the industry. One thing I've noticed about your firm, which is similar to other successful established firms, is that there may be someone at the helm that isn't comfortable with moving online, but they hand that torch off to someone in their firm to get excited about it. It sounds like that's your experience. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I mean, everyone else to some extent has been experienced in QuickBooks Desktop for a long time. I was too, but I just always want whatever's new, whatever it can help us. And so I love learning too. And so this is something new, or at that time it was something new. So getting there, and my dad thankfully gave me the freedom to pursue that. And so, and as I learned, it's like, hey, we need to transition here. We need to start using the benefits here. And so we started moving some of our clients over. And as that was successful, we start moving in bigger batches. And as that's successful, we continue to transition. So.
All right, let's switch it up a little bit. Colby, little deeper question for you here. So when many business owners, especially MBAs, they think about investment and cost, which is rightfully so. How do you consider someone like Caleb and their firm to be an investment?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's an investment. Why is it investment? Is that what you're saying? Or how do I?
How do you consider a firm like?
Yeah, so to me, it's very important, again, back to the consultation, but just the projection of, hey, Caleb, where are we at? How do things, I like to meet with them at the end, towards the end of the year, or even multiple times throughout the year, just to see where we're at, see where we need to be, see where we should be, for a number of different reasons. And I think that's pretty crucial to any business, to have a good partnership with their accountant.
For sure. So you're starting to expose something with firms moving to consultation and away, or a blended approach with compliance. The thing about consultation that I've found is if you're not thriving as a small business owner, it's pretty clear that there's no benefit in the consultation. Exactly. Is that fair to say? Are you seeing that in your own business?
Agreed. Yeah.
Oh, so it's fully transparent. Look, if this relationship isn't working, if I'm not getting the services I need, clearly that's going to be showing up in revenue, added cost, things like that. That's pretty fantastic.
Just doing the taxes, I'm sure RLJ does them better than some people, but anybody you can go to and have them do your taxes, and there's going to be benefits to different firms, but the biggest thing for us is the consultation and where we're going to be at.
So important. And that real-time access to the books helps tax professionals in ways they can never imagine.
Oh, for sure.
Now with the tax reform, having clean real-time data is more valuable than ever. Yep. So as a small business owner or in small business, Colby, cloud, not cloud, tax, not tax, accounting, not accounting, what's the biggest struggle that you encounter just in business generally?
Trying to think of what the biggest, I guess it's kind of a sad answer, but the first thing that comes to mind, especially for a lot of people I work with, seems to be health insurance for small business owners, figuring out what they're going to do, whether it's inside their business or outside of their business. I hate to bring the conversation down, but that's the first thing that came to mind when you asked about that. Yeah.
Hey, that's very real. So is it for your firm and employees, or is that for folks that you work with out in the market?
Both. Yeah, definitely. I hear from a lot of people, friends who are going to leave their job and start their business. And usually the first thing I have to say to them is, well, what's going on with your health insurance? Yeah. Okay, here's what it's going to cost for you and your family of 4. And they're like, oh, maybe I need to rethink leaving and starting out on my own.
Unfortunately. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Sorry.
And this question, no, it's so important, and I'm glad you shared that with us. Really a question for both of you. I talk a lot about acceleration in my daily conversations, especially with technology, just being a techie person. Acceleration is just top of mind. Considering cloud services and that rate of acceleration and change that we're experiencing, where do you both go for advice or for help with technology?
Let me go first. Well, I guess Google would be the first thing. If it has to do with QuickBooks, usually the first thing's Caleb when it probably should be Google. But
good.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing's Google. You know, I don't stay too active on, different sites online, going over stuff, but Google, and that's my answer. You got a better answer?
Yeah, so I would say I love staying up to date on Twitter. I connect with a lot of different people on Twitter, and I would say that's one way that I can learn a lot about what's happening. Following hashtags or following individuals that are leaders in the space, that I can stay up to date with what's happening. That's typically the first spot that news gets distributed as to what's happening, and so I can stay on top of what's being marketed or what's changes that are happening. So I love being on Twitter. LinkedIn's a good place for connecting with individuals or simply just learning about different things. I don't get much into the LinkedIn groups, so I would say Facebook groups. I am part of different Facebook groups, and those can be good places to go if I've got a question or if I've got a problem that I need advice or people to give feedback on. I love doing that. It's a great spot to learn about other people's struggles, other people's pain points with apps or with whatever. And then I stay up to date with a Yammer group with Woodard, and so I love staying up to date with that. And there's that's probably one of the most technical platforms that I get my feedback from. So and then just general news, what's happening in the market. I love watching Google Finance every morning. So yeah.
Excellent. You both seem to have your fingers on the pulse of life. Really, you like that real time data, which is pretty exciting. Do either of you have mentors?
Yeah, when I started, that was a big thing for me, is trying to find a mentor. And, I looked around and I've kind of come up with, someone who's semi-local that does something very similar to what I do, and somebody I can shoot questions to and follow up with. But that was a big thing to me, was finding a mentor. And the first thing that happened was I should start an app to pair people with mentors, because it was tough to find somebody, especially in our industry. A lot of people don't associate with each other as much as other industries do.
Well, I'm sure Caleb can help you with that business plan.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Do you mentor?
Do I?
Yes.
My first answer is no, but definitely, even to the 60-year-old who I consider a mentor, I'll even get questions from him. He'll call and ask me questions and go back and forth. And I would definitely love to help somebody out. And you know what? That's true. There's quite a few other insurance agents that are local here that will call and ask me questions. And so I guess that's mentoring. And I do like doing that, helping educate people.
So important. How about you, Caleb?
So I wouldn't say I have a one individual I go to as a mentor, but my dad's a great resource, and so I love his advice and his experience. Another one that is invaluable to me in terms of that's I go to a lot for different questions or a lot of different big ideas that I need to work on with clients is Joe Woodard himself. I've got a great connection with him, and he does a lot on both personal and business wise that I've got a good connection with him. And so email back and forth. We have meetings together whenever we're together. And so that's a great resource there. Others, I've got individuals outside of business, just through our church and whatever that I love to go to that provide accountability and help me transition between business and life and whatever. So that's what I would say in terms of mentoring others. I have a similar answer to Colby. Not necessarily in terms of a formal mentorship, but I love just being there to help others. There's a couple individuals that I know that are younger that are coming into the accounting workspace, that accounting profession, that I am trying to inspire them to that this is a great fit if it's what their long-term vision is. There, and similar to Colby's answer, there's a lot of older accountants that I would say I love to give them feedback on ways that they can improve their practices and implement cloud technologies or simplify what they're doing. So I would say it's a dual partnership between the older giving the advice and giving the history and the background of things, and then the younger providing feedback on what can we do together to make a positive impact going forward.
I love it. I see that a lot in our industry. There are skills that are definitely handed down and then presented back upstream as technology changes. So it's very cool. Colby, what advice or recommendation would you give a small business owner or another pro that would be hesitant to let go of that desktop legacy shackle, so to speak?
Well, it's a easy question for me to answer, but the only bad side is I've not used QuickBooks Desktop. But I hear it from a lot of clients, and even quite a few of my clients will connect that they're clients of RLJ's, and they'll ask me a question and I'll say, oh, QuickBooks Online. Oh, no, we can't use that. We use the desktop. What do you mean you can't use it? Whether they're a contractor or a farmer, and what I've noticed is, you kind of get stuck and you don't like change. I've even noticed that with myself. I'm not leaving QuickBooks Online. You crazy? And but then again, when I refer my friends over, one of my friends just started a roofing company to Caleb, he gets set up on QuickBooks Online, and then I have contractors tell me that it wouldn't work. I'm going, well, he's been doing it for a year and it's working great, on QuickBooks Online. So I don't know what I'd necessarily tell them because I'm not experienced enough with QuickBooks Desktop, but the biggest thing I can tell them is I love it. I can't imagine where I call Caleb and say, hey, I've got this going on, and he says, you have to send me a backup file, or I just couldn't imagine that he wouldn't be able to just jump on and fix something for me.
Yeah, excellent point. And for you, Caleb, same question. What do you do when a small business owner, unlike Colby, pushes back on cloud?
So there's two different responses. One is typically with enough convincing in terms of security, in terms of anywhere, anytime access, in terms of loss of data, in terms of flood, fire, earthquake, theft, whatever. Those are some big areas that I try to convince him on and say, these are some benefits of QuickBooks Online, and the core platform of QuickBooks Online is very similar to QuickBooks Desktop. It's just lacking in some areas, some features of desktop, but with those lack of features, you can typically implement workarounds or whatever with QuickBooks Online, and those workarounds are decreasing monthly as new features are implemented within QuickBooks Online. So typically with enough convincing, you can get somebody to transition over. And when you just state that's the platform that we use, then typically if they want to work with us, if they see the value of our relationship, they're going to do whatever we tell them to do. And then if they say, no way, I'm never touching anything cloud, I'm never doing whatever, they may not be a great fit for our firm anyway. So there's other firms that will die with the desktop, and so they may go over to those firms and die with them. So
they'll show up to you in 10 years.
That's fair enough. Absolutely. So last question for me. You both have been fantastic. I've learned a ton personally. I appreciate your candor today. So last question. This goes back to both of you. Let's start with Colby. what can we work on as a services provider to help you with your efforts?
I guess, there's always going to be a little bit of tweaks on there that I could nitpick at. Just as far as I noticed that sometimes you'll go to put in a vendor or a customer and you'll tab to the account and it'll disappear. I guess that's one little thing. The other thing that I actually brought up to Caleb yesterday was it would be awesome if we could set reminders on invoices. I know that we can do that and I believe it only does it when they're past due. But I was telling Caleb it'd be great on each individual invoice if you could check a box, and then it would either be daily reminder, weekly, or once it's overdue reminder.
And possibly have a different message with each one that goes
Yes,
out.
yeah, exactly.
That is smart. Thank you so much for that recommendation. I will certainly follow up with you after today and dig a little deeper into that. That's a very good recommendation. Same thing, Caleb, what do you think? What can we do as a company to help you?
I think you're already doing a lot to help us. I would be lost without our partnership together. I wouldn't know what in the world I would do. But just the accountability, the working together. I've got great channels that I can go to if I have a question, or if I've got a problem, or if I've got feedback or whatever. I try to give that. I would say similar to Colby, just in a general sense, is just continue to work on automating some different things, simplifying it, continuing to add features so that those discussions about the workarounds become a thing of the past with people that look at QuickBooks Desktop versus QuickBooks Online.
Yes.
And so that way we can continue to transition people over.
That's fantastic. And I know you're part of our accountants advisory panel. So you've got a direct line of communication. Yeah, with some very important people. Well, very actionable people, I should put it that way. So I have no doubt that your recommendations are being heard. That is it for me. We have got a few minutes. I'm going to open it up to questions. I don't know that we have any. Let's take a peek here. And if you both are comfortable, let's just take a look and see what folks think. First of all, let's say hi to Kiara in Linwood, Washington. Welcome. And if you haven't already, if you'll put what city and state you're calling in from, let's get to know each other. So I've got Roberta. Let's take a look here. So she's bringing up a point about hosted, which I do hear from time to time. What I typically encourage clients to do is to get on Google, like you had mentioned, and Google the differences between hosted and cloud. I know Colby had mentioned earlier about hosted environments and his experience with that. What is your recommendation with folks who are using hosted versus cloud products, or just the main themes between the two?
I kind of skipped the hosted phase. So,
Right.
So I'm not a huge proponent of it. If you are absolutely locked from going in your mindset from transitioning over to QuickBooks Online, or you have some functionality that you cannot get on QuickBooks Online with another app or something, which is very rare now with all the third-party apps and with the cloud platform of QuickBooks Online. You can do hosted. We've got a couple clients that have come to us using hosted. I try to transition them to QuickBooks Online because it's just so much better. I don't like having a hosted environment where I have to use a desktop computer still to use it. I primarily use desktop, but I like to have the flexibility for my iPad, my iPhone, my desktop or whatever, and the cloud environment is just so much more friendly. So
certainly, great point. I believe if I read her question or statement correctly, she was recommending that as a bridge to go into cloud, which I've seen, but I'm in your camp. I don't typically recommend, if you want a true anywhere, anytime, any device experience, go use cloud. It's what it's built for.
Yeah.
Very good point. If anyone else has any questions, we have a few moments. And as we're kind of collecting those questions. I'll just open the floor to either one of you. Is there anything I missed? Any last statements that you'd like to leave us with?
I guess just to go back to my downer answer, but to, the biggest struggles for business owners. For me, it was a little easier, mainly because I had Caleb's help, and accounting and bookkeeping, I knew how important it was. But I noticed for a lot of my friends and people who are starting new businesses, that is so crucial to getting that all set up correctly up front, is with their accountants and their bookkeepers. And my recommendation is, when somebody comes to, maybe they have some sort of a program for new businesses, when somebody comes to them, to say, okay, let's follow these steps to make sure we get you all set up right up front. So that's probably what I noticed is the biggest struggle. And a lot of times that really stresses business owners out who are good at, selling something over here, or, building contractor, etc. Their specialty is not bookkeeping.
Absolutely. Yeah. Personally, my wife and I, we use an accountant as well, a tax accountant, throughout the year as well. And it's just it's invaluable. You're absolutely right. What they can do. And I got to tell you, I'm in the tax industry. I study it, and I still use a tax professional. It's just that complicated. And there are so many little pitfalls, you're right, that you can step into inadvertently. It's great to have folks like Caleb out there. Caleb, any final thoughts?
I would just say, in terms of transitioning over to cloud, for anyone that's hesitant, again, go into it with a plan, go into it with a goal, do some research first, find out what the benefits are, and then transition, and then love the benefits.
Yeah, great point. That's fantastic. Well, let's end there. That concludes today's presentation. That's all the time we have. I appreciate everyone's input. Caleb, Colby, excellent today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And let me see my notes here. We've covered everything. Our next session is going to be this Friday from 11 to 11:45 Central Daylight Time with Mr. Tyler McBroom, CPA. I want to thank Colby and Caleb again for taking time out of their schedules to have this conversation with us. I believe it's one of the first ones I've seen out there in the world, and it's about time we had a full end-to-end talk around what we're doing in our industry. Thank you both again. I wish everyone the best, and with that, we're going to go ahead and tune out.
Thanks, Robbie.
Thank you both.